special meeting for the corporation of the town of Cobalt on March 7th, 2024 to order at 6:30 p.m. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. None. Adoption of meeting agenda. Draft motion. Be it resolved the council approve the agenda of the special meeting dated March 7th, 2024 as presented. Need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Starchuk and Councillor Hughes. Okay, all in favor? Carried. 4, business. 4.1, hiring freeze of municipal staff. Draft motion. Be it resolved that council approve a hiring freeze of municipal staff. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Wilcox and Councillor Cooper. Okay. Discussion? I'd actually like Councillor Wilcox to speak on it first, since he's the one that made the motion.
Thank you, Your Worship. As Council knows, I requested some further information because my memory of creating the position that may end up being filled here, well, is part of that process, was supposed to be short term, and I've asked for that information to see if there's anything in the information that would confirm or give a different excuse. And for that reason, I'm not entirely wanting to do a vote tonight because I don't have information that would make me comfortable with a vote tonight. Also, and probably my much more sincere concern is with our budget and our ability to survive in a fiscally responsible way. And I think committing to further expenses with respect to having another staffer be taken in might complicate that outlook for us. We have an awful lot of expenses coming up. And it may be that, as our auditor said last year, we have a lot of very serious decisions to make. Some of them will be pretty painful. It's not a decision I'm particularly fond of, but it may be one I think that might be necessary. So for that reason, I still stand behind the motion, and I would be happy to defer this until that information is available that I had requested.
Councillor Anderson.
Okay, a couple of things. Number one would be when that position was created. There was nothing temporary about it. I was there too. It was a good explanation for the reason why we created things like that, because running an office, a corporation, we are, with everything required by the government, is requires far more work and paperwork and everything. Secondly, you're talking about saving money on staff, and yet you want to give money out to the museums, and you also want to reduce the time frame for buying the fire truck from 20 years to 15 years, which means every year that's more money going out towards that. And other things, it doesn't make sense. And we need the internship position to come in to train for our upcoming retirement, so that everyone is well trained and ready, and that position will only cost us 10 cents on the dollar. And in the end, when one person retires and the next person moves into full-time jobs, everything will be status quo.
Anybody else? Councillor Wilcox.
No, not Wilcox.
Sorry, Councillor Cooper.
I just don't see how we can complete a budget and hire somebody, and then if it comes right down to it, in 3 months when we pass the budget, that we still have to come up with $100,000, and then we end up taking somebody and going in the direction that we're trying to go in now. you know, we would end up losing an employee at that time that possibly quit a good job somewhere else to come here. I would like to see it deferred until after the budget's complete to see if we can afford it.
Where's your $100,000? Counselor Hughes.
Yeah, but then
Just
you put in
a question
social-
about maybe, do we have a rough idea when the budget will be looked back at and maybe when it will be completed, like a rough estimate of time?
I believe the
Couple
budget
weeks or a
committee
month?
was supposed to be meeting.
Your worship, we are actually on the same target as what we were the last few years of preparing the budget to bring forth. The budget committee, Councillor Anderson and Councillor Cooper will be meeting with staff later this month. Staff is still going with the departments. We just met with one of the departments this week, just still finalizing some numbers. We've been crunching the numbers to bring to the committee and then to bring forward. This was never, over the last few years, and I've went through the notes, it was never brought up about the budget at this time to council. That's why I went to the budget committee first.
Anybody else? Counselor Anderson.
Just one more little thing I forgot was, now you'd like a hiring freeze, but when it came to replacing one of our works crew that left, there was no mention of saving money and having a hiring freeze in. So where's it coming from?
Counselor Wilcox.
Just a little bit of a rebuttal of some of Pat's comments. Firstly, with respect to wanting to give money to the museums and the libraries, that is a decision that will be made when the budget is tendered. That's not something I'm necessarily promoting right now. And I'm certainly not suggesting that because a museum was late presenting that they shouldn't get any money. If that's the case, then obviously the library was late presenting, and they don't get any money either. And I'm not willing to go with either of those suggestions that you've made.
Okay.
Because, no, fair is fair. With respect to the fire truck, I think we've pretty much laid out why we're worried about that. On a 15-year term, we will be paying $56,402 a year. On a 20-year term, we'd be paying $47,115 or $151, a difference of about $9,251. By doing that, we save $96,963 on the cost of the truck. So a truck that's going to cost us $605,000 on a 15-year term, it'll cost us $846,000. If we go to a 20-year term, it'll cost us $943,000, which is about 50% more. And that's an awful lot of money to be putting on a truck. And it ties future council's hands for where they might end up possibly, as Harry pointed out, if we needed a new truck, we have possibly 4 or 5 years of double payments that we can't afford. And lastly, doing the fire truck shouldn't really be an issue because for our residents, it's the cheaper option to buy one than to not have a truck. So it's something we have to do.
Anybody else? Counselor Starchuk.
I just wanted to mention this cutting down staff in the office, because we can be careful what you wish for here, because you're taking away a whole position and you're gonna be left with 2 people doing the job. Okay, so you put more stress on the people in the office to do what they want to do, what they need to do, and their morale is going to be destroyed, and there's going to be lots of stress. Plus, they're taking on probably, I would say, 50% of that person's job up here, and the other person's taking 50%, right? So what do you think is going to happen? They're at one wage, they're going to fight, oh, we're doing the work of that person that there's no longer there, so we want more money. So you might not end up saving anything. You're going to have to pay them more money because they're doing more workload, right? This is my thoughts on that. I just don't think it's a good idea. I think we're blindsiding the office.
Anybody else? Okay, last time, Counselor Wilcox.
Just to reinforce what Councillor Cooper said, a hiring freeze, and at least until we've done the budget and we can see what the numbers are. I don't have a huge problem with hiring somebody if we can afford it. I just have a question about whether or not we can afford it.
Okay, Counselor Hughes.
Yeah, I don't think this position is going to be filled for a month or so anyway, say, month or two really, and then by then we should actually have a budget. Because isn't the advertisement just out? What does it take? A few weeks, get that out, then it comes down, at the end of the month? And then we interview and all that stuff, so that's another couple of weeks. So we're like 6 weeks maybe at least, anyways. So, and I'm not ready to vote on anything right yet today without a little bit more information.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, so now I'm going to speak. I thank everybody for your thoughts and your comments. I'm going to educate council a little bit. The advertisement's already been out based on council approving this in a closed session and direction being given in open on that. So now we also open ourselves up to legal liability. We can be sued. An advertisement's out. We've advertised in bad faith if we don't continue forward. A hiring freeze would not pertain to this because, again, I'll reiterate, council approved this in closed, direction was given in open. Staff has proceeded as council directed. You want to do a hiring freeze. What happens if somebody has a heart attack and dies in public works? Not replacing them? What are you going to do then?
Maybe replace them, maybe not. Well,
No, you got a hiring freeze.
that's kind of hard
You
to
got
do
a
that.
hiring freeze.
It's a bit of a dramatic comparison, I think.
Well, no, it is a hiring freeze, which means nobody gets hired. So this is something council needs to think about very, very carefully. And as for the information that was requested, that information that was requested is about a specific position, has nothing to do with the hiring freeze. That's why that information will be addressed at the next meeting. So now the motion can be withdrawn, or we can vote on it. What does council wish to do? Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would point out that council has the right.
No, Councillor Wilcox, I asked for direction whether we're going to withdraw or we're going to vote. We've discussed. You've actually just had three turns at it now. I don't think you can say anything new that we haven't already heard.
No, but I could disagree with your comment that council can't unfreeze the hiring in an event of an emergency. And that just doesn't make sense to me. However, having said that, I would move that we defer it till budget.
Councillor Anderson.
I would like it withdrawn.
Councillor Wilcox.
Wilcox.
Or sorry, Councillor Hoover.
I'd like to defer it till after the budget's done.
Councillor Starchuk.
I like to withdraw it.
Councillor Hughes.
Either or is fine with me.
And I'd like it withdrawn. I don't think it makes any sense at this point in time. This is a succession plan that was approved by council, started back in 2019. For those of us that were on council then, it was a plan, it was never a temporary position. It was a succession plan then. Okay. Motion withdrawn? All in favor?
It needs to be moved and seconded.
I need a mover and a seconder to withdraw the motion. Councillor Anderson, Councillor Hughes. Okay, I'd like a recorded vote on this, please. draft motion, be it resolved that council withdraw the motion of a hiring freeze of municipal staff. And it was moved by Councillor Anderson and seconded by Councillor Hughes. And I made the motion and I'm for. Councillor Anderson.
For.
Councillor Cooper.
And
Councillor Hughes.
Or,
Councillor Hunter. Absent. Councillor Starchuk.
For.
Councillor Wilcox.
Opposed?
Four and 2 opposed. Motion carried. Five, adjournment, draft motion, be it resolved that the special meeting in council be adjourned at 6:47 PM. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Starchuk, all in favor? Carried.